Hi, Kirsty. Thanks for joining me today and
Thanks for
sharing
being here
this
on the
story about Hosanna Farm.
Yep.
I also want to acknowledge Regan, your
Yes.
partner, who's on farm duties.
He is.
Let's just start from the top.
Sure.
How long has this Hosanna Farm been established?
So it was built at the beginning of 2002.
Mm-hmm.
The original
20 years.
owners, 20 years. The original owners built it as a farmstay. Went through an evolution of being a school campsite and a church group site. And then we moved here in 2017, took on management in 2019, and now here we are.
And what happened in 2020?
Yeah, we took on management just in time for, that was the year that drought hit the Tweed Valley really hard, and the bushfires. That was our first year, 2019. Yeah. Then we had the first year of COVID, so the first COVID shutdown, the big one. That was 3 months of closure. And then 2021 we thought was going to be better, and we all know that it wasn't. And that was in total another 3 months of in and out of lockdowns and being closed. And then in 2022 it rained for a really long time, and so we had 3 flood events here on the farm. And now here we are in 2023 with a new rail trail experience open, and we're just starting to catch our breath.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. Okay. So let's just talk about the offering for visitors here, associated with the rail trail and the farm stay more generally. So what have you got here?
So we've got accommodation, everything from a 5-star homestead down to unpowered camping, with everything in between, some cabins that you might be able to see overlooking the dam here, some glamping huts, powered and unpowered camping. So
what's your capacity?
On a busy weekend, which is every weekend, we're fully booked every weekend. It's about 200 people.
Yeah.
Then we developed, when Regan and I took it on, we really developed that day visit market, particularly during all of those COVID years, when people were really hesitant to travel but wanted to be outside. It was easier to be outside. Good. So that's when we really worked on our day visitor market, and now we can have anywhere from 100 to 200 day visitors on a busy weekend. And now the rail trail has provided us with a whole other guest, which we just call the rail trail guests.
The rail trail guests.
So our on-site guests, our overnight guests, and then our day visitors, and then our rail trail guests.
And are the traditional guests utilising the rail trail?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It's part of all of our communications. Bring your bikes. Yeah. Plan to do the trail.
And I suppose the people who've stayed here over the years might be coming back because
absolutely
a new experience.
We have got a really great return customer. Like we've got people who come every year for their Easter experience, and they've been doing that for 15 years. So the rail trails definitely provided them a whole new kind of access to the Tweed Valley from us as well, which is really exciting. Yeah.
So we spoke earlier about the initiatives you and Regan have put in place. I come up with some ideas and put them to management. Do you want to talk through some of those things?
So obviously the development of our coffee, cafe, food offerings has been pretty integral to that day visit market. So when we first moved here, there wasn't any of that.
Right.
So we've developed that store that celebrates all of our beautiful local producers, as well as our coffee shop with some incredible coffee from the guys out at Yukai, Bastion Lane, and then bringing on a chef and doing all of our own in-house. We've always had a commercial kitchen, but really turning that into another revenue stream has been the main thing that we've done. The live music afternoons, that was a COVID initiative, because people wanted to go and be somewhere that they could be outside.
And they hadn't heard music for a while.
And local musicians were struggling. So our live music Saturdays and Sundays really came out of that desire for connection. And it's a really popular thing that we do now, as well as our water slide, which is just behind us. Which is really popular in the summertime.
I said it off camera, but my grandsons come here and I have Snapchat videos of them coming down that water slide, even last weekend.
It's very, very popular.
Yeah, so the rail trail, I suppose, has given Hosanna Farmstay a new lease of life, really.
Definitely.
But if you hadn't had the foresight to develop the food and beverage part of that, people still may have, you still would have gained visitation, but not as great. And I think focusing on that day trip market was really clever.
Yeah. When we knew, like, obviously we had a few years of knowing that the rail trail was going to be a thing. Obviously people have been working on it for decades, in the early days, but we knew it was happening. And we had a good few years of knowing that it was happening. And for people who may not know, our farm is 100 acres, and Tunnel Road and the rail trail actually cut it in half.
Right.
It comes straight through. So being a tourism operator, it just, of course, we were going to maximize that. So we've done a few things to really put that in place. Like there's an alpaca paddock now in a little bit of a dead zone beside the rail trail that we were like, what are we going to do with this space? And we call that our head turner paddock, because everybody loves llamas and alpacas.
Yeah,
so
they do.
Even if they don't come into because obviously you have to come off the trail to get to our cafe. They're still engaging, just with a bit of fun.
Well, it's not that far to get off the trail, is it?
Not even 100 meters.
Yeah.
We've had to really think about things like safety, how people safely exit the trail and come onto our property. We've had to think about things like internal signage, directional signage, how to give them the best experience off the trail, how to make it easy, and bike racks.
Yes.
We've just,
that's a good
bike
point.
racks.
Bike racks.
Yep.
Are you finding for the guests who stay overnight, have you had to do any washing, like for bikes and storage and things like that? Or no, not really?
Most people are kind of DIY. We've installed bike racks in all of our accommodation as well. Most cyclists bring their own. They're quite self-sufficient. Yeah. They bring their own padlocks. They bring their own gear. We have installed some repair kits and a compressor for flat tires, just because that's a service,
Well, I think it's really important.
Worthy of providing.
With our other interviews this morning, this hasn't come up because we haven't been in an accommodation property. Yeah. And so that's really important, catering to the needs of the cyclists, whether they're recreational or, full-on lycra ones is really important, and what other rail trails really do as well.
That's
provide the racks, the storage if you think that's necessary.
Well, as a customer service vendor as well, we're always thinking about our guest experience. So adding a new guest in, we call them the rail trail guests. How do we make it easy for them to come and spend some time here? You need somewhere to put your bike. You need somewhere to go to the toilet. You need somewhere to fill up your water bottle. That just adds to that guest experience that makes them, number one, want to come back and tell their friends to come here.
Easy.
It's easy. It doesn't actually cost a lot from our perspective to think in terms of how to make that a good experience for them. But from our perspective as well, like, we don't want bikes lying all over the road, and so there's a facilitation there that you have to think through as well. Being organised is really important, but also being flexible in those early months to go, all right, we don't really know how they're going to interact with us. So just kind of staying flexible with it and seeing and observing, and then implementing what people are already doing, what we need to do. That's right. How do we make this the best that it can be? And so I think 6 months in now, we have nailed how many bike racks we need and which days are the busiest. And they are Sunday. Sunday is the busiest.
Sunday's the busiest.
For sure.
Yeah. Oh, very good. So getting back to business planning with the cafe and the store and everything, did you go through a business planning process? Did you create a business plan around that?
We're driven by strategic plans.
I'm a strategic planner.
That's what I do.
Cool.
So the farm side of the business and the hospitality side of the business, we run every year by strategic plans with 3, 6 and 12 monthly goals then beyond, so that we can measure them. Obviously the last 3 years were difficult to make any sort of plans. So I think that the 2020 strategic plan sort of just evolved, and we're like, well, let's just get through this.
We can't do what we had hoped to.
That's right. But this year we were really hoping for no external issues.
Factors.
Yes. We really needed it. And so strategic planning around the rail trail was one of our 4 key areas of growth focus.
And so how long out from the rail trail construction did you start that planning? that thinking
We
process?
usually start, well, it was years because of the food side of things. So we started really ramping up our food offerings in April last year. So that's nearly a year out.
And I suppose you refurbished or...
We had to expand our kitchen, or change it all around to be able to handle the volume. We had to employ more staff. We had to work out the systems, like how do you make sure that it doesn't take a long time for people to get their food? How do you make sure that, like, the initial figures were 80,000 a year?
Right.
How do we make sure that we can facilitate 100 people ordering all at the same time because everybody eats lunch at the same time? All of those kinds of things. How do we had to implement buzzers, and some of this was born out of like our live music and those sorts of things. So we just worked really closely with our teams on how to scale it, which means now, well, we could have, like, those bike racks are full for 6 hours on a Sunday. So you could have 200 or 300 rail trail visitors all eating lunch here. How do we make sure they're not waiting more than half an hour for their food?
And they've got a drink in their hand.
That's
while
right.
They're waiting.
Yes.
So not to well, we don't want to scare off businesses down Lismore and Richmond Valley Way. A strategic planning or business planning process doesn't have to be super complex.
Not at all.
I mean, obviously that's your expertise, but there are places that other operators can get support.
Absolutely.
And so I just wanted to clarify, don't be scared of strategic planning. There is...
That's what I tell my team all the time. No need to be scared. Where do we want to be in 12 months? And let's break that into four little chunks, and then we'll just work on it bit by bit. And that's been the story of Hosanna. Little by little, we've expanded, we've held, we've made sure the quality's still there, and then we take the next chunk out of the elephant.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I love the way you explain that. Yeah. So what are the main opportunities? We might have already covered this, that the rail trail is delivered to Hosanna Farm. Like, from where, if the rail trail didn't exist, what would Hosanna Farm be?
We would still be ourselves. We would still be a farm stay. And that's probably one thing that I really wanted to get across is be what you want to be.
Oh, I love it.
You know, like just whatever your business is or whatever your idea is, be that. Be really good at it. And you don't need to be all things to all people. Just do what you're doing because, and this is what I'm really excited about on the trail, like, it's a trail for a reason and people want to experience different things along the trail. So we're one thing that people can experience on the trail, and that's something that we really realised is we're not trying to get rail trail guests to come and spend the day here.
Or stay overnight.
They may.
That's
our future possibilities, is that people come and stay here, particularly when the trail is longer. The main opportunity for us is that we are one stop on the trail. So the opportunity is be who you want to be.
Oh, look, we've heard it for the other businesses we've talked to this morning. The same thing. Focus on what you're passionate about and what you're really good about. I think that's a really good message.
Definitely really important.
I've heard stories about this, but I'll let you tell the story. What's the growth been like in terms of economic growth for Hosanna since you've capitalised on the rail trail opportunity?
I would say it's turnover growth at the moment because we've had to reinvest a lot into that growth as well. With growth comes its own challenges. So there was a time over that April to June period that we were looking at a 500% increase on a Sunday.
That's the story. That's the story.
Yeah. And that does come with its own challenges. Like, is this going to be the same?
Every Sunday.
Forever. How do we staff this in a way that we've not got people standing around on a Sunday on Sunday rates, like those kinds of efficiency things. The economic growth's been pretty incredible. Like our midweek, because we're a family farm stay, kids are at school during the week. The midweek has been pretty significant as well.
Growth,
definitely.
Fantastic.
People who try and avoid those peak periods.
And so you're seeing a change in visitor associated with that? Do you?
Yes.
Yeah.
You've definitely got more retired people who are able to have that freer time during the week. but they're still wanting to come in and have lunch. They're still wanting to come in and have a cup of coffee and some morning tea. And I was just overhearing some people in the sitting having some lunch going, so if we were to do this again, we could stop here for morning tea and then we could stop here for lunch. And they were planning their stops along the trail, which is probably something really
which is really significant,
well.
because they're not just coming for the one rail trail experience, they're thinking about the next time.
That's right.
Yeah.
They definitely are. They definitely are. And what we have here is pretty incredible. So it's worth coming back time and time again for sure.
Oh, fantastic. So what have the challenges been other than the COVID and the natural environment and disasters and things? What are the other
landscape of the 2020s? I'd speak specifically about the rail trail. Just the growth challenges. Like you'll never have enough toilets. There's growth challenges. You need car parks, you need toilets, you need bike racks. Within a food offering business, it's keeping stock. So we just had to spend $10,000 on more freezers.
Yes.
To hold more food, to be able to offer more food. Storage, like all of our ordering all of a sudden just explodes, and that's almost a full-time job now. That's definitely been a challenge that we've accepted. But
well, it's a good challenge
it
to
is.
have, isn't it?
It's a growth challenge.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, floods, that's pretty challenging and there's not really much you can do about it, but growth challenges are there.
Yeah. And so that means you're flexible. You realise, you know, 500% increase on Sunday, right, we've got to address this. We need stock.
Yep.
We need cold storage.
Yep.
What are we going to do about it?
And it's being flexible in the early days, because obviously we were already operating before the trail started. It's being flexible to go, we actually don't know what it's going to look like. Let's just do what we think and then adjust accordingly. And if you're flexible enough to go, what do we need? And then not just on one weekend, but like over a month, this is a consistent, you know, or over the 6 months, we've got a pretty good picture now of what's needed, and just adjust to that. And
Well, we were talking as we're climbing up the side of the hill to be next to the water slide about it's 31 degrees today. And so you haven't been through a hot summer. We don't know what the usage is going to be like on the trail on a hot day. But it's super shady. It's a shady rail trail.
And today's been busier than I anticipated.
And it's windy. There's a nice breeze.
That's right.
So,
and when you're on the trail, like,
it's zooming through.
It's pretty nice.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be a really interesting thing for the Tweed businesses to be able to share with Lismore, and is what we've learned in terms of when it's raining, you know, send your casual staff home because it won't be busy. When it's hot, here's what we experienced.
We heard it in another business about flexibility around staffing, like engaging staff who'll go, okay, your shift is 3 hours, but if it is raining or something, they accept that it's okay to go home. Same here.
Definitely have to be flexible with your staff. We're pretty committed to being a great place to work. So we try and find other things for our staff members to do that can help prepare us for when it is sunny. But sometimes it's just like,
it is tourism and hospitality
isn't
it?
That is the deal.
So the key best practices that what do you think are the things that you've done really well that others could learn from?
I think efficiencies in dealing with volume.
Okay, good.
When it's peak. When your peak times are, and how you can facilitate, because rail trail guests are quick guests. You know, our day visitors come for a 9 o'clock start and they'll stay through till 2, 3, 5 o'clock. But a rail trail guest, I think we've worked out it's usually about 20 to 30 minutes is their stop.
Wow.
Yep.
That's all their stop. And they want to go to the next stop. That's
because they're not here to experience us per se. They are, but they're here to be on the trail. So they're not here to stop here. Some people, after the 4th or 5th time, they start at Murwillumbah, they come to Hosanna because it's a good family distance, and then they go home. That's what they do. But for somebody doing the trail the first time, it is a trail. And so they're not staying forever. They're here to get their key thing, that whatever you offer, and then they're moving on.
And you've got a retail space down there as well. Are people purchasing? Yes.
Do you know what the most popular things are? The most local, authentic products. So
Hey?
finger lime jam
Finger
made
lime
from our
jam.
neighbours down the road
Yeah.
is the most popular thing that they buy
Fantastic.
because it's something that's from this place. Yeah.
The taste of this place.
Yeah. Or
That's
like we've got some
interesting.
merchandise, so they buy hats or
Yeah.
little chicken toys for their grandchildren,
Yeah.
you know, definitely offering things like that.
Yeah.
But they're after an experience that celebrates the local space that they're
Yeah.
in.
Because I did some work with Destination North Coast on a mentoring program and workshops last year, and retail hasn't really come up that often.
Okay.
Merchandising and
right.
retail, but there is a real opportunity there.
There is.
Yeah,
for sure.
as the souvenirs.
Definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
Okay.
And products that they wouldn't find elsewhere.
And are you part of the Connect program?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And
Absolutely we
why?
are.
What are the benefits?
Because it's a trail.
Yeah.
When we all win, and so we should all be contributing to that.
I love that.
But we're a very communal-minded organisation. We love celebrating community, but we're very mindful that we're one stop on the trail, and so when the whole trail is great, then everybody wins.
And imagine what it's going to be like when that whole 32 k's is done.
It's amazing.
It's just and
the whole
132.
132.
Yeah, it's just amazing.
It is going to be incredible.
The lessons for Lismore and Richmond Valley is that they need products and experiences like this. Yeah,
They do.
Yeah, and particularly for Richmond Valley, there's not much there on the trail at the moment, but there are opportunities. So
many
So
opportunities.
what would your advice be? Just start planning now. Richmond, the Casino Bentley is going to open in December this year.
This year.
Yep.
Amazing.
Like a month and a half, 6
Amazing.
weeks, soft launch.
Yep.
So capitalize, get planning and
Definitely. Plan to be yourself.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, because we're always saying it's a better experience when you're genuine and authentic about it and you love what you do. Right? Like customers can tell.
Yeah.
But at the same time, stay flexible to sort of massage how that looks and feels and operates for you.
And look at the other opportunities that might emerge around that.
And how you can collaborate with other people as well.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Definitely.
Good answer.
Gold star for me.
Is there
But it is actually the truth.
I know. And we keep hearing about it. And this thing about cooperation and collaboration is so important because, as you said, it's a trail.
Yeah.
It's a trail.
It is.
Is there anything I've missed that you wanted to share with us?
I've got my little notes here because I wanted to make sure that, because we have learned a lot. Like it's been a big 6 months of learning. I don't think so.
No, that's good. Oh, good. I'm glad we've captured it.
And
And we want to give businesses, really authentic. Just that opportunity to hear from the businesses, because they do hear the stories of 500% growth, and that might be a bit daunting. How do I achieve with my business 500% growth, So hearing it from you guys who are actually doing it is really important. So thank you.